You are listening to Bras, Panties, and Sports. This is Spitface. I'm here with the First Lady of Sports Talk, the one and only Cheryl Smith. We got CJ here in the studio, but CJ's kind of down and out at the moment. Well, no, she ain't down and out. She's feeling under the weather, and her little throat is not working the way that she wanted to work. So she's here giving us some love and trying to drink up all the mimosa and eat up the sausage and bacon and stuff that old Grumpy laid out for us. And you know who we got out of that's right, we got out of Cleveland land. We got the Goddess Kelli, the diva of sports debate. That's right, the diva of sports debate. You want to go debate with her? You might be on the losing end. You hear that, Stephen Smith guy and Max Kellerman? You do not want to debate that lady. Of course, you don't want to debate the First Lady either, because you will be in a losing situation. But check out the music this week on Shout Out. We are featuring two performers from the Indie Music Series, where they find their shining star or get the cold feel of the mute button. I'm going to tell you, it's been rough. Goddess Kelli ain't gave nobody a half a thumbs up, so it might be rough. But before we move on, let's get a little bit of a old school giggle. That's right, this week we got an old school giggle for you. If you don't remember it, then you're probably too young for the old school giggle. But we got one for those folks who ain't that young.
And now it's time for America's favorite daytime fun show, Let's Make a Dope Deal. Yes, Let's Make a Dope Deal, where young pushers try to parlay their stash into that really big connection and jump up into dealerhood. And our first contestant today on Let's Make a Dope Deal is former head of the philosophy department at Harvard University. He is the holder of a PhD, an MA, a BA, and is a BMF besides. Would you please give a big warm welcome for Bob Bitton? Come on, let's have a hand for Bob Bitton. Here he is all the way from Harvard, Bob Bitton. Well, it's really great to have you on the show tonight, Bob. How you doing?
Bitchin'.
Well, isn't that far out and solid and right on, Bob? Tell us, Bob, here's the question I ask of all our contestants. What made you drop out?
Well, a lot of people think it was the 400 acid trips they took, you know.
But what was it really, Bob?
One day I played Black Sabbath at 78 speed, man.
And then what happened?
I saw God.
You saw God. Well, that sounds like true enlightenment to me, Bob. Tell us, Bob, what have you been doing with all those degrees? I noticed you had a PhD, an MA, and a BA. What have you been doing with all that knowledge?
Making candles, man.
Making candles. Well, that sounds creative, Bob. What kind of candles are they?
Oh, they're really neat table candles, you know.
Table candles?
Yeah, you pour wax on a table. And you set it on fire, man.
Well, that sounds like a hot item, Bob. Okay, you ready to play our game?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Now, you know the rules. You get fronted with a stash of 50 keys, and you can wager part of them or just some of them on any one of our tests.
50 keys?
50 keys.
Can I quit now?
No, not yet, Bob. You have to play our game. Okay, Bob, how many want to wager on the first test?
All of them.
All of them is going to shoot the works, or mainline, as we call it here on Let's Make a Dope Deal. Okay, Bob, for 50 keys. What is your name? You have 60 seconds.
Hey, I know that one.
Starts with a B.
I know what is it, man.
I knew when I came in here, man.
Ends with a B.
Oh, don't tell me.
10 seconds, Bob. Bob! And you win 50 keys for the tension fund here on Let's Make a Dope.
All right. We had a little bit of a technical glitch there, but you know what? We gonna move on to our next segment. It's time. First Lady, what you saying?
Each week we try to figure out what is going on in the sports world, not the plays of the week, more like the players of the week. Are they trying to tell us something? So we ask, what you saying? Fly, little birdie, fly. Time keeps on slipping into the future. Time keeps on slipping into the future. So I want to fly like an eagle to the sea, fly like an eagle and let the spirit carry me. I want to fly right into the future. The little birdie known as LaMarcus Aldridge is flapping his wings because he wants out of San Antonio. LaMarcus is disgruntled about how he was used by the Spurs and feels he should have been featured better. Considering the Spurs turned to him when their big gun went down and LaMarcus was less than stellar, should San Antonio be glad he wants to fly away? If LaMarcus can't make it with the Spurs, where would he fit? Perhaps a rebuilding Lakers team? If the Knicks land LaMarcus, how soon would Phil Jackson make him want to fly backwards straight back to the Spurs? Carly Strife, Rashima Sinha, Katie Bootcamp, and the Steve Miller Band are asking, what you saying? Well, what I'm saying is LaMarcus. LaMarcus. I'm sorry, I'm channeling my Eartha Kitt impression from the movie Boomerang because LaMarcus Aldridge felt he was screwed the same way Lady Eloise duped Eddie Murphy from the infamous scene in Boomerang. For you millennials, you need to Google it because it is a funny scene. And trust me, LaMarcus Aldridge, he is really being funny right now because how on earth did he thought the Spurs hinder his performance? Because it was his fault. He was the one that was having problems. He couldn't shoot the ball. I mean, somehow his mid-range jump shot just landed somewhere back in Portland because it darn sure wasn't in San Antonio. I mean, he missed so many shots. He played so small. He just looked like he was scared of the big moment. It was just too big for him, especially when Kawhi Leonard went down. LaMarcus was so bad, even Popovich spoke out in the media about how he needs to step up. If I'm the Spurs, I'm running away from this contract as fast as I can because you need a player that has moxie, and LaMarcus, he is just so weak mentally. I mean, they really need to trade him to the Knicks and get Carmelo Anthony for offense. The Spurs can have a better person who can pop and shoot because LaMarcus, he couldn't do it for 2 years. And Carmelo, well, let's face it, he's not scared of the big moment. He won't shrink in the playoffs like LaMarcus did. And as far as the New York Knicks, that may not be the best place for LaMarcus' talents, even though he probably can do well in the triangle office. But as far as that, I mean, if he can't play in San Antonio, then why would he think he can play in New York City? And, yeah, Phil will definitely fly him right back to the Spurs. Oh, my goodness. I mean, LaMarcus Aldridge, you something. But anyway, Lady Goddess, what's going on? What did you think, Goddess Kelli, about LaMarcus and his reason why he couldn't do well in San Antonio?
Well, I want to talk a little bit about Kawhi Leonard for a second. I mean, Kawhi Leonard is the quietest superstar in the entire NBA. I mean, the guy does everything. He can do offense. He's amazing on defense. He was in talks for MVP of the entire league. The guy is just amazing, but you never hear anything about him. Nobody sits and talks about Kawhi Leonard because he doesn't grab the limelight. And it seems like LaMarcus Aldridge is having ego problems because he wanted to go to San Antonio and he wanted to be the superstar. If you can't coexist with the most humble superstar in the entire sport, who are you gonna coexist with? I mean, come on now. And then when Kawhi got hurt, LaMarcus Aldridge couldn't do anything. He had a chance to prove what he was worth in those playoffs when Kawhi Leonard went down. He was given the limelight, and he did nothing with it. There is so many rumors circulating about where LaMarcus Aldridge is going to go. I've seen him linked to pretty much every single team out there, looking at all the rumor boards out there and what everybody is saying. I've even seen people saying he might go to the Cavaliers, that we're in talks with the Spurs for Danny Green, and they're talking about throwing LaMarcus Aldridge in, too. If he couldn't coexist with Kawhi Leonard, how the hell is he going to play with LeBron James and Kyrie Irving? Those two have got some of the biggest egos on this planet, and he thinks he's going to be happy playing there. LaMarcus Aldridge is not a ring chaser. He's not that kind of guy that's going to go out to the team that's going to give him the best chance for a championship. He wants to go somewhere where he can be a star. And you know what? Maybe the Lakers might be a good place for him. They've got a lot of young talent. They don't have a lot of guys that have been around as long as LaMarcus Aldridge is. Maybe he can go down there and kind of take new little Lonzo Ball under his wing, that kind of thing. We'll see what happens there. But, I mean, this is a story I'm looking out at to see where he actually lands his little ego-laden birdie butt, but seriously, if you want to get paid, you need to play and you need to ball out, and LaMarcus Aldridge did not ball out last season.
He's right about that. He didn't, but I mean, I don't know if he's going to go to Lakers. I mean, Magic Johnson, why would he want LaMarcus on? He needs somebody who has, again, like I said, who wants to do better. And LaMarcus, he just doesn't have the mentality. I mean, he became very small, and to blame the Spurs is another, the way that they didn't put him in situations that would make him great is just, to me, an excuse for him not showing up. So anyway, Spitface, what do you think about LaMarcus?
I think you ladies are being too rough on LaMarcus. You know, just because he got a lie in his name don't mean he's la in the head. But he is rather acting that way. Now, the last time I checked, I don't think Texas has passed the marijuana laws, so I don't think that that's the problem. I think the problem with LaMarcus is that he got on San Antonio and realized that these boys really do play. They really do play team. They play team basketball. They don't play you the man and everybody else sit around and, let you just, get props and accolades. But the thing that makes me think that LaMarcus might be la land thinking is because he acting la. I'm going LaMarcus. Now look. Now, I do know one thing. If LaMarcus ends up being in New York, it will be a year later that he'll be flapping his wings praying that he can get to somebody team. He might even look at, I might go with the Bulls, anybody to get me up off of this team. But I'm looking at the LaMarcus' situation. Ladies, when you talk about coming up small, whew, I thought my man was Houdini the way he disappeared during the playoffs. And I'm going, LaMarcus, you are not bettering your game. You are not. If anything, this was the time for you to say, you know what, things didn't work well with me. I'm going to stick, San Antonio is about the only team that's going to be truly competitive against them, their Warriors, and Cleveland when they repeat, because they're going to be back next year. They're going to be there. And San Antonio about the only team that can play defense and have a shot at upseating the Warriors. Now, you got a chance to be on that team where you will get props, but your little wings is flapping, you chirping and stuff, rather than looking at your own game. And your game, it was sorry, Bo. It was sorry, Bo. I hate to tell you this. If nobody showed you the video, it was on you. It wasn't on them other folks. They were all looking at you. What you gonna do? What you gonna do? What you gonna do? Do I have to go get Jim Brown, come by visit you? Ask you, what you gonna do? Because you did nothing. So, LaMarcus, be careful what you ask for, because you might get a ticket out of town. And, first of all, you got a point. Shoot, they'd give up LaMarcus in a heartbeat to get the mellow fellow. You want LaMarcus and we could get the mellow fellow? Shoot, they will drive. Pop will personally put LaMarcus in his car and drive him to New York if he can get that kind of deal. He will personally, please give me Melo. I'll take Melo who's hungry. I want to win some playoffs. I want to have a chance to say I could get a ring. Melo would be a cool fellow in San Antonio.
Well, LaMarcus. Well, anyway, we'll see where he ends up. He probably just might stay with the Spurs. Maybe he's just flapping his wings for no reason at all. So anyway, Spitface, over to you.
All right. Don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years, rocking my peers and putting suckers in fear, making the tears rain down like a monsoon. Listen to the bass go boom. Explosion, overpowering over the competition, I'm towering. Wrecking shop when I drop these lyrics that'll make you call the cops. Don't you dare stare, you better move. Don't ever compare me to the rest. Better all get sliced and diced. Competition paying the price. I'm gonna knock you out, huh? Mama said knock you out, huh? We are not talking about Dershawn Sharpley, Kay Meredith, or Tania Smith. We are talking about the knockout punch that Phil Jackson is landing on the hearts of Knicks fans. Talking about shopping Porzingis. How do you know you play for the Knicks? You are so upset you leave before your annual exit interview. Your team passes over several highly rated players in the draft to roll the dice on a Frenchman not named Tony Parker. The GM sleeps during the workouts of prospects. You fail to get in the trade action for Jimmy Butler. Jamana Kidd, Star Jones, and Pam Oliver are asking what you said. The other way that you know that you know you play for the Knicks is you losing all the time. That's how you know. Well, I play for the Knicks. What do? We lose. You know, the Raiders used to have I think they had a sign, or it was Notre Dame, one of them, play like a champion. Well, when you get to the Knicks, play and get paid. Just play and get paid. Because we got a GM that, and I know that the First Lady and CJ are Knicks. They long-time Knicks fans. They loved it. They go back when the Knicks was, doing something. And even when they was battling Jordan and the Bulls, they would get them, Knicks, get them, But the Knicks were some bad boys. They could play. They was balling. Now, under Phil Jackson, I'm like, Phil, not only has your reputation as an executive went through the toilet and out into the bay somewhere, and then and they shipped it out to the middle of the ocean and sank it the way they do that nuclear waste material, But it's starting to look like your coaching reputation is starting to look like where you just the luckiest. First Lady, Goddess, did I say luckiest? Luckiest coach in NBA history. Because it so don't seem like none of them coaching, quote, smart translated to the executive arena, and that is what puts you in doubt. So, this has, I know you got the numbers, you got the rings, you got the record, but now it's starting to look like it wasn't you. It was, let me look up and get 3 superstars every place I go. No, so I'm going, I'm going to do some meditating and see if I can get that to work. But I'm looking at Knicks fans. I don't know what will help you other than, but you know what, they just signed an extension. I think Phil got another extension or something like that. So, but I do think this. The owner, Mr. Dolan, would rather have people hating on Phil than hating on him for delivering the sorry. Did I say sorry? Let me make that clear. The sorry team that is now known as the Knicks. I even feel bad. I don't even like the Knicks, and I feel bad for. I like New York, but I don't like the Knicks, and I feel sorry for them. But Goddess Kelli, diva of debate. By the way, you ladies looking awfully gorgeous. These are the most gorgeous looking women on radio. Let me tell you, they fine. Goddess Kelli, what you saying?
Well, I mean, when it comes to the Knicks, what else can you say? That is just a disaster implosion over there. I mean, I'm a Cavaliers fan, but a lot of the people I'm close to are Philadelphia 76ers fans. And we all know with their tanking process what they were doing, but it's like New York is taking tanking to a whole new level, and then they're not even reaping the benefits of it. I don't know what James Dolan is thinking. And Phil Jackson, he's a hell of a coach. Everybody knows he's one of the greatest coaches out there, but he is just failing. And I think a lot of that has to do with ownership and with the GM. When it comes down to it, the people at the bottom, who in this case are the players, even though they're making all the money and getting all the fame, they're the ones whose attitudes and morale is going to be affected by what the GM and what the owner is doing. And James Dolan is just crap as an owner. I don't think you can fire an owner in basketball, but if you could, he would be the first on the list to go. I mean, come on. He banned one of his best players, Mr. Oakley, from going into Madison Square Garden. How can you do that as an owner? Oh my gosh, don't even get me started on James Dolan. But then they've got all this talent. You know, they picked up, or they've had Carmelo Anthony, they picked up Derrick Rose. They're trying to make moves, but all these players are just sucking because they can't get behind the process. Phil Jackson wants to do the triangle thing, and you know what? That's cool, and it would probably work if he could get buy-in from the players, but none of them want to buy in because ownership and management of the team is just so bad. Then everybody's all going out that Porzingis didn't want to do his exit interview. You know what? The guy's Croatian. He probably doesn't have enough English words to get out the level of animosity that he has got for that team. So if he wants to remain silent, I think that that says enough in and of itself. And you know what? If he had a translator, it might have been cool, but we probably don't have the right words in our language to express what he wants to say.
Goddess Kelli, I don't think we better get a translator for what he want to say. He can speak it clearly in the language they speak in Croatia, and all you got to do is nod and wink, and we go, yeah, we got it. First Lady, what you saying about your Knicks?
Well, Porzingis speaks perfect English. He just doesn't like what's going on with the Knicks. And you know what? As a New York Knicks fan since 1977, can it get any bleaker than it was last year? I don't think so. I mean, I think the Knicks have seen its worst days, and that was last year. You know, Phil Jackson, he had no intentions on trading Porzingis. Only way he was going to trade Porzingis, the Celtics had to give up their 2017 third pick and Brooklyn's pick from for next year. So it was no way he was giving up Porzingis. He was just pumping out his chest to let Porzingis know that he's in charge, and his camp needs to shut up, specifically his brother, Giannis. He needs to shut up and let Porzingis fall into place. So that's the reason why Phil Jackson was putting out there that they were trading Porzingis. They had no chance to trade him. And the thing about, the Knicks team, last year, they weren't tanking, Goddess Kelli. They actually thought they were going to win. The Knicks team was pretty good up until the point when Phil interfered and he started to come at Carmelo Anthony sideways. That's when the Knicks started to really look bad because, the morale on the team plummets. That's what happens. There was no culture. There was no morale. Phil wanted to lose. He didn't want the team to succeed. Everybody felt that Phil wanted to get fired. He wanted to get fired because he really didn't want to do the job. That's why he's sleeping on the workouts. He never went anywhere. He never traveled anywhere. Only time he traveled is when he went to Los Angeles. So, Phil really didn't want the job. He just wanted the money. He already said that Jeannie Buss was the one who encouraged him to take the darn job. He didn't want the job. He wanted the money. And James Dolan, like a fool, gave him the money. And it's the funniest thing about James Dolan. All the previous times he had a GM, he interfered. This is the first time that James Dolan is not interfering what's going on with basketball operations. He has given Phil Jackson total autonomy to run the New York Knicks. And the funny thing about it, now as Knicks fans, we want him to interfere and get rid of Phil Jackson, but he is not going to do that. So we are stuck with Phil Jackson for the next couple of years, the end of his contract. So where does the Knicks fan go with this situation? The one thing that I'm saying that is going to happen, and it's happening already, the Knicks are rebuilding. That is something that this organization has never done before. As a Knicks fan, you never heard of this team rebuilding. They always had to maintain some level of respectability because of the fact that they have one of the highest tickets in the NBA. But you want to know something? I'm glad they are rebuilding. I'm glad that they're building this team organically. And Phil said they need to groom their own players. I mean, I can't believe it. At this point in time, this is the thing to do because, number one, free agents are not coming here. They're not going to New York. They won't even dare go to New York. And with the exception of Porzingis, that's the only asset the Knicks have to trade. So they can't trade for a star. I mean, really. So what are they going to do? The only thing they can do is rebuild the team. And I'm going to tell you something. I like the draft pick that he picked, the Frenchman, because you know what? The Knicks has always needed a guard, a point guard. They've really never had a point guard. They had Derrick Rose last year, but guess what? Derrick Rose was not a good defensive guard, and he is not a pass-first point guard. This Frenchman, and God knows I can't say his name, but anyway, he is a pass-first point guard, and that's what the Knicks needed. They need somebody who can do that because they can always get weapons to score. They have Porzingis, and if they keep Carmelo Anthony, he can score. So we don't need somebody to score. We didn't need James Smith Jr. because he's a scoring point guard. We didn't need the guy from Kentucky right now. His name is eluding me, but guess what? He's a scorer. We didn't need that. We need somebody to play defense. And this Frenchman, he has a 7-foot wingspan. He can play defense, and that's what we needed. We need that. And so what? You know what? Everybody's talking about the triangle offense. Let me tell you something. If Phil wants them to play the triangle offense, let them play the triangle offense. Because guess what? When he leaves, they're going to go back to pick and roll. And guess what? If you can play the triangle offense, you darn sure can play pick and roll because that's an easy system compared to the triangle. So, Knicks fan, I'm going to tell you this. And you know I am one of the number one Knicks fan. Let's do like the Philadelphia fans and trust the process.
All right. Okay. We heard it from the goddess. We heard it from the First Lady, but we need to take a break. First Lady, over to you.
First two listeners tell us or send a shout-out why the ladies are grouped together will receive a $25 gift card from our partners at NFLShop.com and Interstate Batteries. Now, here's your hint. We shall overcome. Stay tuned. Coming up next, we have a performance from India Music Series on the first part of Shout Out.
All right, John, like I said, the ladies looking good. Free Mr. Vine. The music flows in from around the globe to get a shout out from the panel. First Lady, I can't wait to hear the music from the Indie Music Series.
On Shout Out, we feature new independent artists who are looking to find their shining star. If we like what we hear, we'll give the track a shout out. If we don't like it, we hit the mute. Today, as you said, Spitface, we are featuring artists from the Indie Music Series. First up is the Blue Light Band, and they're going to be performing the song Sarah. Hit it, DJ.
She's 28 and she's looking great and she spent her time with the guys my age. She said 22 was the best she knew, and guess what? I'm only months away. It's easy to say that the space between could kill the possibility of a bombshell blondie in a kid like me. But let me tell you one thing, I'm not easily impressed or intrigued. But she took the wind from my chest in the ground from my feet the first time that she stood in front of me. Sarah, in a black dress, I must confess that I'm passing these keys for the woman of my dreams as she pours me another whiskey. Sarah, in a black dress, I must confess I'm not here for the beer or the paycheck. I'm here for the waitress. Well, you're beautiful, and when your eyes meet the other guy's smile, not as wide as mine, because oh, I'm love drunk, in that drunken love. I didn't need any liquor to wanna be with her. So Sarah gives it chest to me like I give my melody. Ooh, 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 ooh. In your black dress, I must confess that I'm pressing these keys for the woman of my dreams. Said she pours me another whiskey. Sarah, in your black dress, I must confess I'm not here for the beer or the paycheck. I'm here for the waitress.
Okay, that was the Blue Light Band. And let's go to the panelists, see what they think about this song and the group. Goddess Kelli, what did you think about the Blue Light Band?
I almost kind of liked it. I mean, it was a little bit boring for me. The guy's voice was a little bit boring. I liked the beginning of it a lot. It had that good indie music vibe for me, and I like indie music a lot. Like, the instrumentals kind of almost reminded me a little bit of Bright Eyes, who I'm a big fan of. But, I mean, then at the end, it just got a little too lounge music-y for me and a little boring. So I'm going to reserve my judgment on the whole band until we hear the second song, but it was okay.
All right, so you're like leaning towards a yo. All right, let's go to Spitface.
That was at a yo. You know, I thought it was a nice little ditty. And it got me nostalgic because I remember the days when I would, go to different clubs and all of that, and and it'd be like, man, look at all these beautiful ladies here, and then my eye would catch the waitress. And I go, you know what? Forget them. Yeah, let me talk to you. Yeah, let me speak to you, baby. And so I've been there with a Sarah, and the Sarah was smoking. So I'm gonna give it a shout out. I thought it was a nice little ditty. I'm giving it a shout out.
Okay, I'm gonna shout it out too. I kind of like it too, like you were saying. I did like the beat a little. It had that mellow feeling. And I liked it. I mean, it did well for me. I enjoyed the little music from the Blue Light Band. So we'll check them out again on part 2.
I do need to make a correction. That they put it in the script. It's not the Blue Light Band. It's the Blue Light Bandits.
All right. Well, we'll make that. All right. Is it time for my favorite underwater friend? Is it time for Flip It?
They call him Flipper, faster than lightning. No one you see is smarter than he. And we know Flipper lives in a world full of wonder, flying there under the sea.
All right, our little underwater friend has brought us again to Flip It, where our hosts defend a point and then flip the script and defend the opposing view. I know it's NBA time. We just had the draft, but we just had to bring up some NFL and America's used-to-be team, a.k.a. the Dallas Cowboys. Jerry Jones is having a private audience with the Pope. Now, this is a great honor, but we wonder, can the Pope provide divine intervention for them to finally win in the playoffs and win a Super Bowl? It may take something. So we're asking the panel to defend. The Pope got the hookup. They're looking at a miraculous plays. The Cowboys win the Super Bowl. Now, now I am not Catholic. Okay, so first of all, I am not Catholic. So I don't really be knowing what they be doing in the but I do know that the Pope got a hookup. Now he got an inside lane to the big man. And he got a, or big lady, because we never know the God ain't tell us. But we do know that he got another hookup with the son. So he got a hookup with the son and the man. So, if anybody can bring a little bit of that miracle dust to the Dallas Cowboys, it's got to be the Pope. I mean, the Pope he's the Pope. He there. He got the little thing that he wear, the little beanie thing he wear on his head. He got the rings. He got some deep rings. You ever see them Catholic, shows where they show the Pope? The Pope be laid. I didn't, for a guy that, don't mess around, with, women's sex, all of that, he be fly. Brother, he rolling, he balling. But it will take some divine intervention so that somehow, some way, they won't be stumbling and bumbling and end up tripping and not make, especially given that this is going to be the sophomore year for the two main stars from last year, the quarterback and the running back. That sophomore slump could hit. But see, the Pope is going to go ahead, throw a little holy water on them, do a little blessing thing. I'm going to tell y'all, you better watch out. It's going to be a miracle play. It's going to be one of them little fingertips, just like in the old days. And somehow or another, they're going to win. Goddess Kelli, defend.
Oh, I'm a Philadelphia Eagles fan, so I think this goes against my religion to say that the Cowboys are going to win the Super Bowl. But with the help of the Pope, who, as everybody knows, is the leader of the Catholic Church, with his divine intervention, with the fact that Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott completely outplayed the entire NFC East last season, with the fact that, a lot of our teams, my team's not doing a whole lot to get better, the Giants aren't doing a whole lot to get better, the Redskins aren't doing a whole lot to get better. Once again, they're probably going to walk themselves right into the playoffs, and if they get there, and if these guys can keep cool under pressure with a little bit of help from above, they might come back and be able to win the Super Bowl. Oh, that hurt.
Calm down, guys, calm down. You can't go against the Pope. First Lady, the fan.
Yeah, the Cowboys definitely will be better this year, and they're going to be better because Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott, they're going to have 1 year under their belt, so they'll come back strong. And their offense is still like the top reason for them winning the Super Bowl. And of course, Des Bryant, he's finally healthy, and he's going to, he returned last year, but returned a little bit too late. But he's going to be definitely still their top receiver. And of course, the offensive line is still one of the best in the NFL. But the main reason why the Cowboys are going to be better, and that's because the Pope put his intervention and the Holy Divine. Tony Romo is gone, and there isn't any uncertainty about the leader of the Cowboys, because this is Dak's team, and it's not Tony Romo's team. So with the Cowboys having that leader in Dak and the culture, they will win the Super Bowl and then really become America's team, because guess what? They're winning again. How about those Cowboys?
All right. So you're saying the Pope exorcised the demon known as Tony Romo. It took an exorcism.
Yes, it
Goddess,
did.
I don't know. With them exorcisms, I know you're a Philly fan, but them exorcisms. But, this is flipping where we flip the script and defend the opposing point of view. It would take divine intervention for the Cowboys to win the Super Bowl. This is a prayer even the Pope can't get answered. No way they win the Super Bowl. I've looked at the situation and the Pope, his highest, prays for the best for all peoples. So, he ain't going to be one-sided and, I'm going to put my divine intervention, for the cow. He wouldn't do that. He would bless them that they have a good season and that people do well and stuff. But the thing is, the Pope is going to go, I ain't going to put my reputation on the line for them Cowboys. Look, I'd rather turn water into wine than try to put my reputation that the Cowboys are going to do things. The Pope ain't no fool. Now, he ain't slow, The Pope say, look, you know what? I'll try to walking on water. I'll try to turning water into wine. I'll take a loaf of bread and feed 1 million people. But the Cowboys, he's staying away from that. He knows that, there are limits to the miracles that I can, produce and so he ain't gonna sit up there and go out he ain't putting his butt on the line, not for the Cowboys. He patted Jerry on the head, let him kiss his pinky ring and said, y'all make a bunch of money. Now that they gonna do. Because, win, lose, or draw, Jerry Jones knows how to make money off of them there Cowboys. And no Super Bowl for y'all because, see, last year, they didn't have no tape on them 2 rookies. Now, you saw what happened when they got in the playoffs, and the level rose up. And they said, no, all that stuff you got away with during the regular season, we got tape, and we the cream of the crop. And you see what happened. Losing. No way they win the Super Bowl, and they're one and done if they make the playoffs. Because I'm saying, and Goddess, you're going to like this, I'm saying, y'all better watch out for Philly.
Yeah.
Goddess, defend.
All right, well, I'm not Catholic, but I did go to Catholic school. And a big thing that we learned, if you want God to bless you, you got to get your ass to confession. And you know what? The Pope's meeting with Jerry Jones, because you know what? The Pope is just kind of like the biggest priest out there. He's just like a regular priest, except he has all his special Pope powers. Their meeting was not long enough for him to hear the confessions of Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones has got more sins under his belt than anybody I know. And if we're talking about sinners, let's talk about some of those people that play for him. He's got pot smokers, which, you know what? It might not be a sin, but it is illegal. Breaking the law, that's a sin. He's got women beaters, which is one of the biggest sins out there. He's got panty thieves on his team. He's got all these guys. If you put them together, you would need 100 years to hear that confession and to get God's forgiveness for all of the terrible things that the Cowboys have done. Not to mention the fact that, like you said, Philly, we are up and coming. We have got Carson Wentz coming into his sophomore year. He has been getting that team chemistry going. We got some awesome new draft picks. Nelson Aguilar has finally learned how to catch the ball in training camp. That's what the reports are saying. He's actually catching the ball for once in his life. He's doing his job. Good job, Nelson. We're proud of you. The Cowboys, on the other hand, like you said, they got tape now. They're going to go into that sophomore slump. They've proven they can't get it done in clutch time. And what is more clutch time than the Super Bowl? They choke in the playoffs. Dak Prescott is turning out just like Tony Romo, where he chokes in the big moment. So I don't care if you got God, the Pope, and Satan himself pulling for your team. Cowboys, they're not winning shit.
All right, we heard it. I don't know. I think the devil is in the details. Well, and his name is Jerry Jones. First Lady gets the final word. Defend.
I mean, winning the Super Bowl, the Cowboys better make sure they can win the East. The Giants and the Eagles have improved significantly and could win the division from the Cowboys. And the Cowboys possibly could not even make the playoffs. So, I mean, that's something they need to consider because God knows they need to improve that defense. That's their Achilles heel. They lack pass rusher and they have a weak secondary. And the real other major problem is their owner, Jerry Jones. He will not let the Cowboys win because he still thinks they are America's best team. Knowing Jerry Jones, he'll try to bring back Tony Romo and cause more controversy for this team. I mean, he just can't get out of his own way. Even the Pope can't exorcise the bad demons that follow Jerry around. So, I mean, there's no hope for the Cowboys. Definitely no hope. They're not winning a Super Bowl until they get rid of Jerry Jones.
All right. You know, First Lady, that might be the real exorcism. All right. Take us to break.
Stay tuned. Up next, the funnies and our favorite underwater friend on Flip It Part 2.
Father O'Malley, please exorcise this demon. Remove the spirit that is keeping our team down. Here's a few bucks on the side.
Welcome back. You are still listening to Bras, Panties, and Sports. Over to you, Spitface.
All right. It's time for the funnies. Ladies, I think we got something interesting for you. And today, stolen toe. That's right. I said stolen toe, Toe, used in cocktail, returned to Canadian hotel with apology. A thief who stole a mummified toe used in a Canadian hotel signature cocktail returned the bizarre ingredient and offered an apology. Royal Canadian Mounted Police in Yukon announced the sour toe used in the downtown hotel in Dawson City's sour toe cocktail has been returned. On Tuesday afternoon, Dawson City RCMP received a phone call from the alleged suspect stating that he had placed the toe in the mail addressed to the downtown hotel. The man then called the downtown hotel and provided the same message to staff along with a verbal apology. The sour toe was first reported missing on Sunday when staff at the hotel's Sourdough Saloon said a man from Quebec with a French accent, pee-pee, wee-wee, bragged about plans to steal the toe before it disappeared. Hotel manager Jerry Coburn said the bar had backup toes. But the one that was stolen had been cured in salt for 6 months after it was recently donated by a man who had it surgically removed.
Oh, Jesus.
We did not make this up. This comes off Playa. The police said the hotel received a package on Thursday morning, and RCMP Corporal Jeff Mike was present to ensure it was safe to open. Located inside the package was an apology letter as well as the stolen toe. At the time that the package was opened, the toe was believed to be in good condition. No charges are expected to be filed in the case. The hotel's policy states anyone guilty for stealing a sour toe will be fined up to $2,500, but management previously stated the fine would be waived if the toe was returned safely. All right.
Wow.
Personally, I'll stick with the tequila sunrises. Guys, during the water splashing on you, it must be time for our favorite underwater friend. It's time for Flip It Part 2. The NBA draft is over, and the top picks, pretty much fell right in line. We wonder about two teams, the Knicks and the Bulls. The Bulls traded Jimmy Butler for peanuts, and the Knicks selected French fries and no ketchup. Who made the better deal or selection? Panel defend. The Knicks made the better selection. They gave up nothing and selected a player with a lot of upside. The Bulls gave up the cornerstone of their franchise for nothing. when other teams were offering far more. You know, I'm looking at this situation with the Knicks and the Bulls, and I'm going, you know, first, I can't believe it. The Knicks made a better selection than the Bulls made a decision. Because I'm looking at the Bulls, not only did you give up Jimmy Butler for what? For peanuts, you gave him to Thibodeau. You gave him to the man he really would love to play for so that he could come back and whoop your butt. You gave him to the man that you replaced. You kicked Thibodeau out and got a junior league coach. Yes, you did. You got a junior league coach to come in, and the whole darn team went down. I mean, you got D. Wade, 24 million reasons to stay, and you still couldn't do nothing and still managed to just screw it all up. And now the Knicks may look and go, hey, look, there were players in the draft who may have been better. You know, yeah, they were over here, but whatever you saw in Frenchie has got to be better than the Bulls dealing away their top player for literally nothing when they had teams who would have made better deals. Boston. Dare I say even Cleveland would have made a better deal? Cleveland with hey, can you think? I'm sure some Cleveland fans going. I think LeBron would find a way to have Butler serve it up. I think he'd find a way. But you're gonna trade your top player to Thibodeau, who Knicks, y'all did do one thing better than the Bulls. But now I'm wondering about the Bulls. Goddess Kelli, the fan.
Well, I mean, when it comes down to it, the Bulls, I think they got a really good deal when it comes to getting rid of Jimmy Butler. They ended up getting Chris Dunn, who last year I thought was one of the better picks in the draft. I thought he was highly underrated. So that's definitely going to help them out a lot. And Jimmy Butler, he kind of outgrew that team. Dwayne Wade is the heart and soul of that team now. He's getting older, but he is the veteran. He is the leadership. And Jimmy Butler deserves to go to a team where he can have that kind of role. And I think going to the Timberwolves is going to definitely do that for him. Whereas the Knicks, on the other hand, they, like we said before, they don't know what they're doing. To give up Porzingis and pick up some French guy that nobody's ever heard of, why would you do that? French people can't play basketball. Everybody knows that. If you're going to go with a foreign guy, get somebody that's from Croatia like Porzingis was, because the Croatians, they can play. So I think that the Bulls are being smart. They're trying to rebuild their team, get that young talent in there while they still have the mentorship of Dwayne Wade before he retires. So the Bulls, I think it was a good move.
All right. Too bad we were defended that the Knicks made the better selection.
Oh, did I mix it
up? First lady, the fan.
I mean, the Knicks picked a guard that has a 7-feet wingspan. His arms are long. Remind you of Kawhi Leonard's long arms. His wingspan is so crucial to playing defense and rebounding. And we all know the Knicks need a guard that can defend. Too many times last year, their guards were beaten off the dribble and players penetrating to the lane. This guard has so much upside, and the Knicks are not even projecting him as a savior. He is just the right piece to their new puzzle. Now, on the other hand, what are the Bulls doing? First, why would Bulls management, John Paxson and Gar Forman, make a deal with the coach that they let go? Duh. He's not going to give you a sweet deal. It's about payback, and Thibodeau duped the Bulls to give them Jimmy Butler, the third best two-way player in the league behind Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, for an injured player who may not be as good as he was before he got injured, a guard that couldn't even put Rubio on the bench, and a 7-footer that only can shoot and do nothing else. I'm sorry, but the Bulls are starting to be more dysfunctional than the Knicks and the Sacramento Kings, and that's a lot of dysfunction.
All right, you heard the defense, but you know this is flip it, where we flip the script and defend the opposing point, the opposite point of view. So the Bulls made the better deal. Jimmy Butler wanted to go, and now everyone is happy. The Knicks, what can we say other than they should have selected a new GM, president, and owner? All right. One of the things is that when a player want to go, even if you don't get a great bomb deal, let them go, because they are going to demonstrate during the regular season how much they are unhappy. And an unhappy locker room means that you do not win games. You do not win games when you got your star player unhappy where he's at. And Jimmy Butler was definitely unhappy with a second-tier coach who doesn't know how to motivate, inspire, get the best out of NBA players. Now, I'm not saying the coach doesn't have the intellect. I'm not saying the coach isn't a good person, but he is just not at the top of the feeding chain when it comes to NBA coaches. They got and the Bulls management, the thing that they need to do is trade the Bulls management. But they did make the right decision, saying, hey, look, we better move on from Jimmy Butler, because if he ends up unhappy in the locker room, D Wade ain't gonna be able to calm him down. He wants out. A player want out, let him go. That is a good deal. Now the Knicks, I don't know. Going overseas, getting Frenchie, and the guy ain't named Tony Parker. Makes you kind of wonder. And especially when there were players that, other teams, that they were like, thank you, Knicks, for letting these players drop down and, into our lap, because we thought you was going to take it. And when you got a GM who falls asleep when they're checking out the prospect, that their prospects, you don't know what you're going to get. Did he fly over to France and check this guy out? I don't believe it. Goddess Kelli, the Bulls made the better deal.
Well, since I've been sucking down some of these sourdough cocktails we were just talking about, I flipped my flip it. So I'm going to flip it back in the other direction, and I'm going to defend the Knicks. But, I mean, if you look at what they did in the draft, going after this Frenchman, I think European players are the future of the NBA. Look at one of the better guys that we saw last season in Giannis Antetokounmpo, or as we call him, the Greek Freak. That guy was just balling out. He is a superstar waiting to happen. And there is a million other names that I could mention, players that came over from Europe. What's different is over there, so much of the focus is on the fundamentals of the game. So you've got these guys that are living for their dream, that are learning all these fundamentals. Whereas here in our country, some of these kids coming straight out of high school, or these kids coming, after just a couple years in college, a lot of it for them is about the fame and it's about the fortune, and it's not about love of the game. So if you've got a guy who's talented and who's got passion, that's the kind of guy I'd want on my team. I think it's the smartest decision the Knicks have made. And Porzingis, obviously, he wasn't happy there based on how he reacted after he was let go, didn't even go to his exit interview. So why wouldn't you get rid of him and get somebody that's going to love the game and is going to help you rebuild your franchise so you can come back to the former glory that is the New York Knicks?
All right. Goddess did a flip it on a flip it. First Lady, the fan.
I mean, all these NBA pundits are saying that the Timberwolves fleeced the Bulls. I'm sorry. Jimmy Butler is an all-star, but he's really far, I mean real far, from being a transcending player. Jimmy Butler got the Bulls to the 8th seed in the playoffs. Most decent players can do that. So really, don't sleep on the Bulls deal. They got Zach LaVine And if he can come back from his torn ACL, this brother can ball. He's got the skills of Klay Thompson, and he got hops because we already know he's won the NBA dunk contest a lot of times. And Chris Dunn, I mean, this is an untapped potential here. He really didn't have a great freshman year, but his sophomore year should be much better. And they did get the 7-footer, Laurie Markkanen. I can't even pronounce his name. He's from, he got a long name. But, hey, he's a great shooter in the draft. So he doesn't play defense. Who cares? There's not really that many big men that he has to defend. And the key thing about it is their big men have to defend him because he's going to be out on the three-point line shooting three-pointers. So, really, the Bulls, to me, they have really started to rebuild, and they have some nice cornerstones that they can parlay into getting maybe another superstar, but they at least have the start because they weren't going nowhere with Jimmy Butler, Dwayne Wade, and Rajon Rondo. Absolutely nowhere but the eighth seed, and I'm sorry, that's nothing you want to strive for. And as far as the New York Knicks, well, let's not talk about them until Phil Jackson era is ended. Lord help us.
All right. You heard the defense on both sides of flipping for this week. First Lady, take us to break.
On the other side of the break, we have another performance from the Indie Music Series on Shout Out. Please stay tuned.
Go Bulls.
The Bulls. Dysfunctional.
I thought both those teams were...
All right. We're back, and you are still listening to Bras, Panties, and Sports. It's time for Shout Out Part 2 and the finale. The music flows from around the globe to get a shout-out from the First Lady and the crew. Over to you.
Okay, so we have a performance from the Indian Music Series, and this time we have a group named High Diamond, and they're going to be performing Broken. CJ, let's hear Broken.
I thought it was my time. Finally found that love of mine. Wasn't quite what it seemed. But somehow it wasn't right. Tied me up all through the night. Get me out of the dream. It's the same thing all over again. I'm trying hard to pretend. It's the same thought that's running my mind. Just wanna leave it behind. I would rather stay broken. I would rather stay broken. Than leave you with the broken. Than leave you with the broken. A broken heart. A broken heart. I thought it was you and me, loving me till eternity. How could I be so wrong? Hope it's true, what they say, letting go, walking away. Love will come back to me. It's the same thing all over again. I'm trying hard to pretend. It's the same thought that's running my mind. Just wanna leave it behind. I would rather stay broken. I would rather stay broken. Than leave you with the broken. Than leave you with the broken. A broken heart. A broken heart. A broken heart. I would rather stay broken. I would rather stay broken. I would rather stay broken than leave you with the broken.
All right. That's from the indie music series. That's High Diamond with Broken. Let's go to the panel to see what they think. Spitface. Are you shouting it out or are you hitting the mute?
I'm going to give it a shout out because it had enough energy and enough of the upbeat tempo to wake you up in the morning.
Okay. To wake you up. So you needed to you need to be woken up by that song. All right. The High Diamond's Broken. All right. Goddess Kelli. And we know Goddess Kelli, she's a little tough on these groups. So what did you think about Broken?
You know what? I think this is the first time I have ever said this on this show, but I really liked that song. It was catchy. It was fun. I had to stand up and refresh my drink. I was dancing around a little bit. The voice was good. The music was good. I liked it. I want to hear more of this band.
All right.
See, that's what happened when you drink that sour toe.
Yeah. That's some serious stuff, that sourdough. I like the song too. I mean, to me, it almost reminded me a little bit of Katy Perry style singing. Just a little bit. You know, she sings a lot of upbeat songs, and like you said, Goddess Kelli, it was a little upbeat, and you were dancing around. And I agree. I'm definitely going to shout it out. So that's a great song from the indie music series. And if you would like to hear more from the indie music series, just check them out at inyourfacerecords.com. That's all one word, inyourfacerecords.com. If you would like to be heard or have any comments, you can send your emails and tracks to panties@oldgrumpyradio.com. Well, we don't have any pick sticks this week. You know, CJ is still happy over her championship, and, you know, she's going to be ready for the hardball contest, which will be coming shortly. So we'll see who will be the hardball champ. Maybe CJ could have 2 crowns in the same year. All right. Well, it's time for the panels to give their outrageous predictions for this week. Goddess Kelli, what is your outrageous prediction?
By this time next week, we will be hearing serious rumors that Paul George will be going to play in Toronto with DeMar DeRozan on the Raptors.
All right. All right, Spitface, what's your outrageous prediction?
My outrageous prediction is that when the NFL season starts and when the NFL season ends, the Dallas Cowboys will be 8-8.
That's not outrageous. That happens every year.
That's not really outrageous, but anyways, I agree with you, Ken. All right. Well, you know, my outrageous prediction, I'm kind of sad to say this, but I think it's going to be an outrageous prediction since the Oakland Raiders just signed Derek Carr to that massive contract. Well, unfortunately, he's going to have a career-ending injury probably around September. I know.
Not my cutie. He's so cute.
I hate to say that, but, you know, that's an outrageous prediction. All right. Well, you know what? I did bring up La Marcus and Eartha Kitt earlier in the show. I always told the millennials to Google it. But anyway, she came up with this quote. My recipe for life is not being afraid of myself, afraid of what I think or of my opinions. That's from Eartha Kitt. Marcus. Okay. Please enjoy the poetic performance at the end of the show. This has been Cheryl Smith along with Goddess Kelli and CJ recuperating and Spitface. You have been listening to Bras, Panties, and Sports.